Greetings, campus constituents. Today we're continuing in our video series looking at another one of our dashboards. This dashboard is a fairly new dashboard that we created in the fall of 2020 to help look at data over a 5-year period as far as our registrations leading up to the next semester, which would have been the spring of 2021. Anyway, we're going to go through that dashboard today and see how it works. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move to our registrations dashboard. Again, if you're unfamiliar with how to get to our dashboards, if you go to WT's website and just do a /IR, that's a little shortcut that will get you to our page for institutional research and effectiveness. And today I'm going to be looking at dashboards. There's a tab down here for all of our dashboards that we currently have public. And we're going to be looking at the registrations prior to the first day of class dashboard. And that will take a moment to load, but there's many tabs up here, and we'll kind of go through and look at each one of the tabs and what the information means. The very first tab in the dashboard gives us the registrations that we have by week and by year. So if you look down at the very bottom, we'll have week 1 of registration, week 2, week 3, and so forth through week 6. I will say these weeks are not necessarily the first week after registration starts. These are just the dates that we have when we started collecting data in the past. And so this is week 1 of the data collection, week 2 of the data collection, and so forth. You can see that we have many years of data here going back to 2017. If I wanted to adjust that and only look at a few years, I could uncheck some of these, and those years would disappear from the dashboard so that you could kind of customize it and just focus on the years that you want to look at. You can see that get a little blue wheel there. It's thinking and recalculating the dashboard, but now I only have the weeks that I actually unchecked the most recent years. I don't know that that was the best choice. If I want to reset that, of course, I can use the reset button so that we have all 5 years back, or I could have clicked all up here and all of the years would populate. Our other choices for viewing information would be our semester. Right now, the spring semester is the only semester that we have populated data for. This is a fairly new dashboard. So the spring semester is the only one that we have available at this time. And this was done prior to the spring semester starting. We have our classifications. If you look at this, we'll just kind of center in on this 2021 spring semester. You can see the number of students that we have for the different years. This is the most recent year, 2021, and you can see where we are as far as registrations. You can also, if you wanted to just look at the total, you could look at the total number of registrations by clicking total and say keep only. You don't want to be bothered by the clutter, and it would recalculate those so that those are only the total is showing. Again, if I want to get the other classifications back, if I just hit the reset button, it will reset the dashboard to the original form. Another thing that you might notice about this dashboard, if I do the hover, I was doing the hover again. The hover, tells you again what year you're in. All of these lines in the top portion of the dashboard. This is all 2021 data, and if you hover over them, they'll give you numbers. It tells you what the year is. It tells you what the total number of registrations were that week. It also tells you what the change is in total registrations from the prior week. So you can see from week 1 to week 2, we had a jump of 17.7%. If you want to look at that in another year, you could hover over it and see that in 2021, over that same time period, we had rise of 20% from the first week. So that gives you a little bit more information. The other thing you'll notice, it's kind of glaring, there's some holes. There's some holes in this dashboard. You know, the line is not continuous between week 4 and week 5. Again, this is historical information, and unfortunately, we are bound by history. And if we don't have the information for a certain week, sometimes the week may fall on, the 5th week may have fallen on Christmas break or something like that. There may be data that's unavailable. That's the reason that this hole exists. So anyway, that is the registrations information by week. And it's a pretty complex dashboard, a lot of information. Some of the others are rather simplistic compared to it. The next tab that we'll look at is by level. And it also gives you the semester credit hours. Okay, if we look at our level and semester credit hour dashboard, it gives you the registrations by level again. Again, same as the other, but the week dashboard. You have the total number of registrations, you have the graduate registrations and the undergraduate registrations. You can also see how many semester credit hours are generated by those registrations. So at this point, this is week 6 information from the spring registration. In week 6, we had a total of 7,975 registrations in 2021. This is the spring of 2021. You can see also by hovering over that it was down almost 5% from what it was from the previous year in that mouse over that I'm doing. You can also see the semester credit hours generated at each level. Again, you know, one of these may be more important to you than the other. And if you mouse over, you can see the change in the semester credit hours from the previous year. And if you change and look at the next node, you can see where we stood compared to the previous year for those as well. You mouse over the first one and you don't see any change, but it's because there's no data to compare it to. This is again from the spring semester. We don't have other semesters loaded. This is from week 6. If you wanted to look at, that was the most recent week that we had before classes started in the spring. But if you wanted to go back and look at other weeks, you could do that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move to the next tab in the dashboard, which is registrations by college. Again, a very similar theme to the other dashboard. You can see that this is only spring data, that this was the most recent week of registrations before classes started. If you wanted to look at others, you could. And then you've got a line here for each one of the colleges. The colleges you can see are abbreviated. This is Ag and Natural Science, College of Business, College of Engineering, Education and Social Sciences, Fine Arts and Humanities, Nursing, Health Sciences. These are those college abbreviations. If you just wanted to look at one of the colleges, you could click on it, say keep only, and then you would just be looking at your particular college. We don't have the percentage change on this particular tab of the dashboard. That could be added. We haven't had that request yet, but you can see where you stand by college. Again, I'm going to hit the refresh button and go back to the way the dashboard was before I made that change. Okay, so we're looking at our undergraduate registrations by department. This is for the colleges be able to go in and investigate which of the departments are doing what they might expect as far as registrations. This again is in week 6. It's the most recent week of the registration period before classes started. If you wanted to look at another week, you could. But these are the most recent numbers. And you can see by looking at ag and natural sciences, ag's numbers are a little bit down, or they were a little bit down in week 6 by about 8 students. Lee's went from 416 last year, that's the number for 2020, spring 2020, to 404 in 2021. Again, these are registration numbers, so these aren't to be confused with enrollment numbers. This is prior to the semester starting. You can see that chemistry and physics had 67 students registered, undergraduate students registered in 2021. And in the previous year, they had 86 students that registered in week 6 of before the semester started. If I go ahead and go to the graduate by department tab of the dashboard, you're going to see a very similar dashboard, but it's only going to be showing you numbers for the graduate enrollments. So again, same layout. You got the different years down here, with the most recent year 2021 being here. And you can go in and look at the registrations and how they compare from the previous years by mousing over the lines and seeing what those numbers are. And there's all the different departments and all the different colleges. I have another tab in the spreadsheet, in the dashboard. I said spreadsheet because I want to make clear that all of these numbers come from spreadsheets that were sent out prior to the dashboard being created. And so this dashboard follows the layout of the spreadsheets pretty well. We have a tab for new students, and this gives you counts as far as how students are classified. If they're new to the university this particular semester. This is the spring semester, week 6 of the spring semester. And you can see that this is the undergraduate students. And the undergraduate students, we have all of these different new student types, with freshmen with no college hours. That's a particular classification in colleague. That's the number that corresponds with it. Freshmen without college hours or 3s and so forth. And you can go in and look at these. Again, some of our, some of these get rather small. You can look at them as far as our PUP students. Let's say that we just want to look at our PUP students. If I keep just the PUP or special admission students, if I keep only that line from the table, it will clear out all of the clutter and you'll just be able to focus on that one. We don't have a whole lot of PUP students in the spring generally. Apparently we did have a spike. If you call 10 a spike, we had 10 students in spring 2020, but we only have 1 registered in the 6th week before the start of the spring semester in 2021. I'm going to go ahead and hit reset or revert. The table below it is the same type of breakdown, but it's for graduate students. These are the new graduate students that are entering the university in spring 2021. Again, same setup, 5 years worth of information, the different classifications, whether or not they're a grad non-degree seeking student, returning student, meaning they were not here in the last long semester, a graduate student, which is students that are, I think most of those are non-degree students that are coming in as quote graduate students, but not working towards a degree. And then we had 20 new doctoral students starting in the spring of 2021. Or not 20, that's the number that identifies it. We actually had 57. That's the returning, sorry. The green line is the doctoral students. We had 28 of those in the spring of 2021. Okay, if we go to our next tab in the spreadsheet, is for education on demand. Education on demand is broken into two categories. We have students that have registered and students at the credit hours for those students that are registered. They are broken up into those that are in extension courses and those that are in correspondence courses. So you can track those over the past 5 years. The semester credit hours, again, generated by these students here. There were 125 students registered for an extension course in the 6th week of the spring semester, or prior to the spring semester, and those 125 students were enrolled in 378 credit hours, semester credit hours. We go to our next dashboard, or our next tab in the dashboard. We go to our race and ethnicity page. You can see that we have a line here for each one of our race and ethnicities represented on campus. Lots of white students, that's our gray bar. We also have our Hispanic and Latino group, and so forth. And again, if you wanted to isolate this so that you could just concentrate on one, I won't concentrate on our Hawaiian Pacific Islanders, a very small population. I'll look at our Black or African American students. If I click on that, first off, even without saying keep only, I want you to notice that it highlights that line. So even if you don't do the keep only and exclude all of the other lines, you can sort of focus on that line without having to exclude them. Well, thank you once again for joining us here on the Dashboard Network. We'll be looking at another dashboard here in a not so distant future on grade distributions. So join us here.